rent got too expensive, had to leave LA. So I got into my car and I went away to the big estate, eating tacos every day, going all in with these fish like I'm at all that you can eat buffet. Now, if that song in the intro was just a little bit familiar, well, man, you're in the right place, because today's video is going to be coming at you guys from the Hustler Casino, where we're going to be attending the Wolfgang Poker and Lex O Poker meetup game. Now, we've played with Wolfgang Poker many times before, but we've never played with Lex O Poker, so I'm really happy. I'm really excited that that's finally going to happen. So, without any further ado, let me STF you and let's get right into our poker. So we're going to go on and get this game started, where the maximum buy-in is 700 bucks, but we're only going to buy in for 300 bucks. And on the first hand of the night, we're on the big blind looking down at these beautiful sailboats. It folds all the way to the button, who happens to be Bearded Poker. Hell freaking yeah, shout out to this fish here who went ahead and flew all the way from Texas to be in this game, so go show him some love on his YouTube channel. Anyway, he goes on and looks down at something he likes and he decides to bump it up to 15 bucks. Brantzen pokers on the small blind and he goes on and assembles some chips as if he's gonna raise, but ultimately he cannot pull the trigger and he goes on and he folds. When it's action on me, we're gonna go on and give Bearded Poker a good old California welcome in the form of a raise to 45 bucks. Now, he doesn't seem to like this hand for this price, and just like the movie Frozen, he goes on and he lets it go. We go ahead and show him what we had as a message that we're not gonna be pushed around, especially on my big blind, but more especially when we're in my mother effing state.
Up all the way from Texas, my man. Dude, thank you for showing up out here, man. It's always great to have you out here in LA, brother.
It's been fun. It's been fun. Definitely had a good time. Took a little bit of a beating, but you know, all in all, I had a good time with everyone.
That's right. That's right.
Now we're under the gun looking down at Queen 10 suited, and we go on and bump it up to 15 bucks. Our opponent in the +1 makes the call. Brantzen Poker on the small blind makes the call as well. The big blind also comes along for the ride, and we go 4 ways to a flop of 6 Jack Queen, all of them of diamonds. We flop top pair with a mediocre kicker in this all diamond board, and since I know it's really hard to flop flushes, I'm gonna go on and continue my aggression with the C bet of 20 bucks after both the blinds check to me. The +1 gets out of the way, and Brantzen Poker on the small blind goes for the good old check raise to 70 bucks. The big blind gets out of the way, and now I'm thinking about what possible hands he can do this with. Does he just have 1 diamond? Does he just have the ace of diamonds? Does he have the queen with the better kicker? Or did this son of a gun actually flop a flush? I'm thinking so hard on this one that my check engine light turns out, and then I come to the conclusion that I just absolutely have no clue where the hell I'm at in this hand. I go on and chicken out on this one. I make the disciplined yet exploitative fold, and well, we lose this one, but later on he's nice enough to send me a picture of what he had, and he had it. This son of a gun actually flopped a flush, and I'm glad my chicken instincts kicked in and I was able to get out of the way.
It's the one and only Mr. Lex. Hell freaking yeah, my man. You climbed up the YouTube ranks real freaking quick, man. Hey,
man,
have you gotten used to the fame?
I'm not used to it at all. Like my entire life, I kind of was just like going through, you know, just like under the radar, and now coming here, having all these people is like, it's actually crazy. I have to get used to it. Like,
yeah.
I gotta keep myself humble, you know?
Yeah. Is it okay if people come up to you and say, hey,
yeah, of course, yeah. I want to meet every single person. I want to shake everybody's hand, fist bump, play poker with everybody. So yeah, it's
you heard the guy.
Yeah,
fist bump every time you see him.
Come to the meetup games. Come check out this guy.
Hell
drink a beer with this guy.
Drink a beer with this guy right here.
Now we're under the gun looking down at 8-10 suited, and we make it 15 bucks. The button makes the call. The big blind defends his big blind, and we're gonna go 3 ways to a flop of ace 9-5, all of them of diamonds. The big blind checks, and I'm gonna go on and check this one. The button checks as well, and we go on and see a free king on the turn. The big blind decides to take a stab at it by firing off a bet of 15 bucks, and I'm just not buying what this mother effer is trying to sell. And what do you do when you don't believe your opponent? You freaking raise them, and that's exactly what I do. I bump it up to 45 bucks, which probably isn't the greatest move, as I basically have 0 equity here, but I feel I can get my opponent to fold. Man, I've never been so wrong in my life, as my opponent on the big blind quickly moves all in for another 50 bucks on top after the button folds. I get caught with my hand in the cookie jar, and since I only have 10 high, I'm just gonna have to take an L on this one. My opponent is nice enough to show me the goods as he turns over king deuce of diamonds for a flopped flush again. I'm grateful that my opponent didn't just flat my 45, because if he would have done that then check the river, I would have definitely put them all in, and I would have lost an additional 50 bucks for absolutely no reason. Nice hand, sir. Nice hand.
My man, Wolfgang Poker here. My man, you know, rumor on the street has it that you like fish as if you're eating fish as an all-you-can-eat buffet. Is that true?
It is true, and I feel like I owe you royalties because you inspired me. You were the fish, and I consume your chips, but nah, he's a great dude. Hit the subscribe button right now for the fish poker.
You heard the man.
Now we're on the small blind looking down at ace-8 suited, and the under the gun player decides to limp in. The button also limps. I'm gonna go on and limp in on the small blind, and the big blind decides to bump it up to 15 bucks. The under the gun player calls, the button calls, I'm gonna go on and call as well, and we're gonna go 4 ways to a flop of deuce jack 9 with 2 clubs. Even though I have a flush draw, I'm just gonna go on and check this to the original aggressor, but the bad news is that he checks. But the good news is that I saved a lot of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico. Now, no, the good news is that the under the gun player, he decides to go on and make it 45 bucks. I know there's a good argument to make for me to check raise here, but I'm just not really feeling it at this time. I mean, I've been running into monster hands these past few hands, so I'm just gonna go on and play this one passively and make the call. We're gonna go heads up to see a beautiful 4 of clubs on the turn, giving us the absolute nuts. I check again in hopes that my opponent fires off another bullet, but unfortunately he checks and we get to see an ace on the river. Now this is not a good card for me because it might be a scary card for my opponent if he indeed is holding a jack. I can't risk him checking once again, so I fire off an itsy bitsy little small bet of 50 bucks, but unfortunately my opponent isn't tempted at all to make this call. He folds pretty quickly and we finally get a nice sized pot coming our way.
Go. Oh,
That was pretty close.
that was really close. That was really close.
2 decades of training.
You guys decide. Whoa,
Now we're on the small blind looking down at 6-7 of spades. The under the gun player has put out a $6 straddle, to which the only customers are the button, myself, and the big blind, and we go 3 ways to a flop of 3-5 king rainbow. It checks around to the button, who puts out a C bet of 15 bucks. You know what? I'm gonna make the call on this one. I know I just have a gut shot, but leave me alone. The big blind calls as well, the straddler calls as well, and we're gonna go 4 ways to see a beautiful mother effing 4 on the turn. Hell freaking yeah. We turn the absolute freaking nuts, and we're not gonna go on and miss some value this time like we did on the previous hand when I checked after turning the nuts. This time I go on and lead out for a small bet of 40 bucks, and unfortunately we see one by one throw their cards into the muck, and once again we don't make any more money with our nuts.
go. There we go. That's right.
I always finish it though.
Now we're on the button looking down at these beautiful pocket 9s. An opponent in middle position has made it 15 bucks. The cutoff has called those 15 bucks, and once it gets to me, I'm gonna go on and 3-bet it to 45 bucks. The middle position and the cutoff both make the call, and we're gonna go 3 ways to a flop of deuce 5 jack with 2 spades. Both my opponents check, and once again, I'm gonna go on and chicken out on this one. I make a check behind, and we go 3 ways to see another 5 on the turn. Both my opponents check again, and now I'm fairly confident that I could possibly have the best hand here. I mean, who checks it twice, right? I go on and fire off a bet of 45 bucks, and my only customer is our opponent on the cutoff, and we're gonna go heads up to see a 3 on the river. The cutoff checks again, and even though the flush draw bricked out, I'm not gonna risk a check raise from my opponent, so I go on and I check back, I show my hand, and we are good.
Pocket deuces. What does he have? The slow.
Mariano Poker decides to show up for some support as well, and it doesn't take too long before he gets involved in an all-in hand.
Oh my God, he got it. It's slow. It's really slow. Slower.
And then say his name.
You gotta say bang. You gotta say bang. No.
Gotta say bang.
I wanted to go like
Say bang in Spanish though.
down. Let somebody flip it.
Bange.
I'll flip.
Shit, dude. Damn. Bang!
The ultimate suck out.
What's gonna count here? What's gonna count? Hang on.
Hold on, what's in the pockets? They said everything that's in the wallet.
And the Coke, and the Coke, and the Coke, and the Coke. Not that Coke.
Now we're on the big blind looking down at 7-10 offsuit. The cutoff limps in and Wolfgang Poker, who just sat at the table, makes it $10. The small blind folds and I'm basically halfway there. I go on and defend my big blind. The cutoff also makes the call and we're gonna go 3 ways to see a flop of 7-7-6. Bang! We go on and we flop trips. We check, the cutoff checks, and unfortunately for me, Wolfgang is smart and he knows that this board is gonna go on and hit his opponents more than it's gonna hit him. He checks behind and we go 3 ways to see an ace on the turn. I can't really put my opponents on any kind of flushes as I think they would have bet the flop if either of them were holding any spades. We're gonna have to juice up this pot. We're gonna have to lead out on this card as another spade could potentially kill our action and ruin our plans of winning. I fire off a bet of $20 and our only customer is Wolfgang and we're gonna go heads up to see another beautiful 7 on the river. Bang! Hell freaking yeah, man. This is why you don't miss leg day. I mean, look at those quads. I fire off a bet of $45 in hopes that he calls with any pocket pair because if he somehow hit an ace, he has to raise it, right? I mean, it says it right there in the book of Fishintians. Thou shalt raise with a full house. Unfortunately for me, he flats and he shows ace-3 for a full mother effing house. My hat goes off to Wolfgang here for only losing the minimum with such a strong hand. Jesus Christ. For this last hand of the night, we're in middle position looking down at these beautiful cowboys. As I'm thinking of what to do, the player next to me jumps the gun and fires off a bet of $20 without realizing that I haven't acted yet. This is such a weird spot to be in, man. I don't really know how to handle these situations properly. Should I only make it $10 knowing that this player is gonna make it 20 and just hope that other players call the 20? That way when it comes to me, I have the opportunity to re-raise and squeeze. If this would have been any other poker table, this would have definitely been the way I would have played it, but since this table's been fun and friendly, and not to mention that I'm 100% sure that this player who jumped the gun didn't do that on purpose, I'm just gonna go on and play this hand as if all of that didn't happen. I make it $20, the player who jumped the gun makes the call, everybody folds, and once it gets to Wolfgang Poker on the small blind, he decides to bump it up to $70. This of course is music to my ears, and I only have about $300 in my stack, so there's only one move here. I'm all in for all my freaking marbles. The player who jumped the gun, he makes the fold. Wolfgang eventually decides to make the fold after I filled him in on what happened, on the crazy vibe, on the crazy dynamic that happened with the out-of-turn bet and everything. Anyways, we take this pot down pre-flop uncontested, and now it's time to rack up and go get some mother effing tacos.
All right, fishes, that's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It was a great freaking time. I had such a great time. Not only did I make $210 in profit, but it was freaking awesome having drinks, just having a lot of fun. Although drinks were not allowed at the table, that's why all the drinks that we had, all the beer chugging contests were done in the bar because you couldn't even drink water at the tables anymore because this Rona thing is getting out of control out here in LA. So it is what it is, but nonetheless, I'm really happy. Thank you, Lexo. Thank you, Wolfgang. Thank you, Mariano, for showing up. It was just a great time. So until next time, guys, don't forget to click that thumbs up button. Don't forget to click that subscribe button, that notification bell, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.